Hi, the topic of today's video is my itikaf 2026, my days, how I spent it, how was it for me, what was going on, things like that. To be completely honest with you, I don't feel like recording this video right now at all. I was avoiding it as much as possible, but here I go, I'm doing it. I have my tea here. I have my notes that I was doing during the itikaf, so I will be helping myself a little bit today. For the start, what was I doing? I was 5 days in silence, in complete isolation from the world. I was by myself. I was only at home. I wasn't communicating with anyone. It was just me, my mind, and God. I was fasting as well, and I was a little bit sick when I was going into it. I was speaking about that in my previous video. And today I'm gonna talk about how it was day by day. What was I experiencing each day? And to be honest, this was my most structured itikaf I've ever done so far. I was taking notes every day, so I now can help myself. So let's get into it. The first day was pretty good at first. I feel like every time the first day is like the slow flow, just I didn't have a feeling like it's gonna be a big deal, and it's always like that for me, to be honest. I feel like I just need to process what is happening first before everything kicks in. So the first day was pretty chill, especially during the day, but in the night everything started. So when the night fell and I was trying to go to sleep, a huge spiral came to me, like huge. It was the worst state of mind I've experienced in a long time. It wasn't comfortable at all, like at all. It was so bad. It lasted for like 3 hours. So 3 hour long intense spiral. But it was actually very interesting to observe what is happening with me, because it started as an anger, as a huge anger on one specific person. That anger on that specific person quickly shifted into an anger on myself. And this feeling was shifting and molding in a different ways until it became this very familiar childhood feeling of the lack of love. And it wasn't connected to some specific situation that happened in my life or something. It was just this very specific and familiar feeling. And I know it's from my childhood. Like, it's been with me like since I remember. So I was trying to let it flow. And as I was doing that, I was just, it was very, very dark. It was very dark. Some heavy thoughts starting to surface, and some heavy feelings with it. And I was really just trying to let it go through me and let it pass. But it was a very, very intense feeling and sensation, and the spiral itself was intense. When someone else would be telling me that they experienced this, I would be thinking to myself that that's a little bit extreme. In my case, I know what it is. Like, I am very familiar with feelings and thoughts like this, and I know how to work with it. So when I'm seeing it in the retrospect, right now, that I don't think it was actually that bad, but going through it, it really wasn't good. So there was my 3 hours of torture the first night, and like I was exhausted during that. I was exhausted. I was just trying to go to sleep, but I couldn't. I couldn't. My head was just spiraling. So I let it go through me. I let it pass, and when it went away, I just went to sleep immediately. And that was a question of like 5 minutes. 5 minutes maximum, maybe less. During the day, the first day, I was not doing much, to be honest. I was just being in the present moment, as always. But the night was crazy. Psycho stuff. The second day, I had more trouble with like getting my thoughts intact and getting my mind together because of that spiral the previous night. It was very obvious that my thoughts are on the loose, and it cost me a lot of effort and a lot of work to get my mind back intact. I did that with the classic way of meditation, both with closed and open eyes. I was just trying to ground myself and really stay in the moment, clean up in my head a little bit. So the second day, I was meditating almost like the whole day. I wasn't really doing anything else. I was just trying to be present. In the evening, I was reading the Quran, and I was pretty sure that my sickness was partly psychosomatic. So in the evening, I grabbed few topics that were repeating to me. I wrote it down. I grabbed one of the topics and I did a quick session like with myself. I did a therapy to myself focused on this topic. It wasn't as long as the classic session I am having with my clients or I am going through with my therapist. It was like half the time, but it helped a lot. When I was going to sleep, it seemed like everything was going fine. My mind was much more calm than the previous day. But the second I lay down, my mind started spiraling again. And it was even heavier and bigger spiral than the previous night. But it was easier to manage. It was still pretty heavy. It lasted for like 4 hours, but it was easier for me to step out of the spiral and just observe my thoughts. I wasn't able to do that like for all the time, for all the 4 hours straight. That was like impossible for me, but I managed to step out of it at times. And I noticed an interesting thing, and that was that when I was sitting down, when I was sitting on my bed, everything was okay. My mind was like almost completely silent. Nothing was happening up there. But as soon as I laid down, everything went bad. That was very interesting for me. Like the position you are in and the place you are at, how conditioned it is, and how much effect it has on a person. Like I know that from my studies, obviously, but live through it. This was like a reality check a little bit, or like connection between the reality and the real life and what is actually happening in a person and what you are experiencing as a human being and the education. It was cool. And after this, the third day was by far the worst. The worst. Definitely the most difficult morning to manage. My head was all over the place, like all over the place. It was everywhere. It was so hard to manage. It was hard to even get myself to the meditation and like meditate and like slow down my thoughts at least a little bit. It was so difficult, and I wasn't really successful, to be honest, in this. It was extra hard to stay in the moment. So this day was in the name of journaling. I was writing down like every single thought that came to my mind. I was writing down everything, and I was receiving a good amount of thoughts regarding my work and my content creation and things like that. So that was great, Alhamdulillah, but it was too much. There was so much of it, and there was so much like instability, and it was very obvious that I need to focus on things inside myself, some fears that I have, some limitations that I carry, some trauma. All of that was very, very visible in the ideas and in the thoughts and in the way my mind was going through the day. So I knew I need to look into it some more. The journaling helped me a lot with identifying and with clearly seeing what I need to work on and what I need to focus on in myself. And thanks to that, my thoughts got some kind of a structure. And with structuring my thoughts also helped me creating a mind map. I have it here. I don't feel comfortable with showing you what is actually there. I'm gonna try to like recreate it and give you an idea what this map looked like for me. And with the map, it was very, very clear what I need to focus on and what is connected to what, and it helped me clean my mind a lot. So based on that, in the evening, I did a quick therapy session again and again. It was like half of the time of the classic session. The classic session is hour and a half to 2 hours, and this was like 45 minutes, 50 minutes, something like that. So I just picked one of the topics from the mind map and focused on that and solved that. And although the incoming night was the most sleepless I've had so far in the itikaf, I wasn't spiraling that night. Like, I was having some thoughts, but it was very manageable. It didn't go crazy, and definitely it was the calmest night so far. And like, I know this, but I always like the therapy proving itself. When I'm seeing the results this quick, it's always like refreshing, and it's a confirmation that I'm doing the right thing. So that's also fun to see. Alhamdulillah. Day 4. In the night, I wasn't sleeping almost at all. Like, I fell asleep, I think it was like 4 a.m. and 5:30 was Fajr. So I missed Suhoor that day, but I was woken up exactly like 2 minutes after Fajr started. Alhamdulillah, so I prayed and went back to sleep, but I wasn't really able to sleep. I was feeling pretty fresh despite not sleeping at all, but I was like convinced that I need to sleep some more. So after like 2 hours of trying to fall asleep, I finally fell asleep, but I was waking up a lot. So after like 2 or 3 times I woke up, I just stayed up. Right from the start of the day, in the morning, there was this topic that was screaming at me, and was really strongly pulling my attention to itself. So I did again a quick session right from the start, and it helped me a lot. And at this point, my mind was pretty calm, Alhamdulillah. And I've noticed that my temperature started to go down finally, Alhamdulillah. It was taking so long. So for the rest of the 4th day, I was just meditating and reading the Quran, nothing else really. And the 4th night was the calmest one, definitely, I've had in that process. I had some thoughts, but it was very calm. I wasn't spiraling at all. It was very manageable, nothing overwhelming or heavy or anything like that. So the end of the day was pretty peaceful. I was even able to meditate, so I was meditating a lot. And I don't know what time I fell asleep, but I know it wasn't much earlier than the days before, so Alhamdulillah. And the final day, day 5, I had an alarm to wake me up, but I just didn't. I just didn't wake up. So astaghfirullah, I missed both Suhoor and Fajr. I just know that the alarm was ringing. I can remember like the sound of it, but I don't remember anything else. I just slept through it. But Alhamdulillah, I had the most quality sleep I had in a long time. This day, I believe, was like the most productive I had. I knew that the next day I'm gonna need to like be functioning human being in the society again. So I was trying to like prepare for it, but it wasn't even as intentional. It was just happening. It was coming to me by itself. So right from the start, the day was very peaceful. And I was having some thoughts about my career and my education and things like that, so I wrote it down. And I was making a brief plan of the following week. And that was kind of what I was doing during the day. I was also meditating and I was just absorbing the experience itself. The previous day, when I was reading the Quran, I came across some verses, and I feel that these verses opened my heart a little bit more again and made somehow everything fall into place even more than it was at that point. So the last day I was just absorbing and letting everything sit, and I wrote the verses down. So I'm gonna read to you what specific verse or verses it was. And I don't know Arabic, so it's gonna be in English. The first verse is 32:9. But he fashioned him in due proportion and breathed into him something of his spirit, and he gave you the faculties of hearing and sight and feeling and understanding. Little things do Yah give. And this verse led me to another one very similar, and that's 15:29. When I have completed him and have breathed into him of my spirit, then fall you down before him in prostration. So both of the verses are kind of saying like the spirit of Allah is inside of us, literally. And it was so interesting to see this verse in the Quran because this is a topic I was coming across lately a lot. Before I reverted, I was convinced like 100% that everything in this world is connected, that we are one. All of us, like everything that is here, creates this oneness of being. We and God are one, and we and everything that is in this world are one. We are not separate. It's illusion. And I feel lately I was coming back a lot to this concept. But like after I reverted, there were other things to focus on, more of a survival area of my life. So I wasn't really thinking about these things as much as I did before. And I needed to like put them aside for some time. And as the time was flowing, I was like uncovering one by one of these topics, how it is in Islam and like connecting it with my spirituality. I was finding my place in Islam and how do I want to live it and how do I want to live my life like in general, and kind of integrating who I was into who I am today and connecting everything together. And these verses combined with some other verses gave me the stability and the ability to fully surrender. So coming across these verses was a heart opening experience, definitely. And I feel it gave me the ability to really trust Allah again in the way that I was trying to access this whole time after my reversion. Alhamdulillah. And it's even like making me emotional because this was a very difficult path for me. Like after my reversion due to consequences, I lost myself to a certain level. And after some time in being in a very toxic environment, I left and I needed to like put myself back together. And this process was long. And I wasn't really feeling like myself. And coming across these verses and like some other verses as well, but I'm not gonna read those. I feel like I am finally able to like surrender again. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. It is a beautiful journey I'm having. Like I'm really grateful for everything. Alhamdulillah. I wouldn't change anything about my life. Alhamdulillah, I know that everything got me to the point where I am right now, and it's a beautiful point in my life. And at this point, I really love myself. Like, I'm really grateful to be this person that I am today. And I just thank God for that. And I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for everything I have right now and for all the people I have right now. I love you. And it's been a wild ride, and it's gonna be a wild ride. I still do have far to go, but this point where I am right now is the best I've been in my life so far. There's definitely a big amount of gratitude that I am having towards how my life unfolds. And I feel like this itikaf helped me a lot with opening my heart and my mind and like reconnecting to myself finally again, my true self, my essence of being, and Allah, and like everything. It's like a puzzle. And I think that's what I'm gonna end this video with. I hope you enjoyed, and I want to thank every person who is supporting me on this journey. I love my friends. I'm very, very grateful for them. I love my family. I love everyone I have in my life right now. Alhamdulillah. So thank you for being here with me and for supporting me. I really do appreciate it. And also, I do appreciate everyone who follows me and who shares my posts and who likes my posts and who's engaging in the comments and in the conversations. Like, my point here is to create a community to share. So I'm really grateful to see that people are reacting to that. So thank you as well. I hope my content is bringing you some value. Inshallah, in the future, I'm gonna touch some topics that are going more in depth, and I'm looking forward to that a lot, to be honest. So stay tuned. I hope you're having a beautiful day, beautiful week, beautiful life, and don't forget to live with love.